Come on. There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. What's up? How we doing tonight? So I know we still got the rainbow effect going on here. Make sure that this stream starts properly here. Okay, we are running. So I'm still working through some things I want to do here. I don't know if StreamYard is actually giving me the 1080p that I should be getting. So I'm definitely going to be checking into that, making sure that I want to give you guys the most quality stream that I can, and hopefully the audio is working. Let's double check that. It shows I'm working. I should be in some decent levels. The members, some of the members know that I'm playing with a new. I don't know if I've actually said this on the stream, but I'm playing with a new audio program, a voice meter that ties in through StreamYard, through microphone, different things there. So it's like kind of not abandoned, but gave up, kind of put on hold the efforts of learning OBS Studio and all that. I've transitioned into something I understand a little bit better right now that I can still use to realistically, I should be able to get a quality stream out of. I just want to make sure everything comes through. And I also have decided that I'm going to be moving my lights around in here and bringing a second light on me, which should hopefully help with our rainbow effect we have going on. But how is everybody? What's going on, guys? Enough of me just jamming away about just random things that honestly don't probably affect you all that much. It's just me nerding out on stuff. And too low. Hang on. Just dropped my chair there, and that just went plummeting down a lot farther than I expected. There we go. Now I feel like I'm in focus in there. Other Tiffany made it back for now, and hopefully you're able to hang out with us tonight. I know Lindsay just joined us. Good to see you. We got Mountaintop in here because you're fish. What's up, Seth? It's good to see you here. Lars hanging out with us. Misfit, my man, how we doing tonight? And then Brian P's lurking. But how's everybody doing? Hope you're all well. I had a good weekend. I've had a great weekend, actually. It's been a fun weekend. Do you ever find random things in your desk? Oh, I remember what that's for. Like, where did that come from? Yeah, I just found a random thing on my desk, but I remember where it came from. Looks like Kevin is coming in to join us. What's up, man? Good to see you. So yesterday, we made it out to the. I often say things like we made it out in our channel because often, like, I honestly embody the community, and like I always think that you guys are kind of there with me through different things. But made it out to the Greater Austin Aquarium Swap and made some great contacts there. It turned out to be a phenomenal swap. Some of the members got to hear me talk about it last night. If you are a member and you're part of the squad, do know that we have our squad only little live stream sessions we're doing right now on a kind of just a rambling series. But if you're not part of the squad, you're still a member. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. I'm still making sure. I'm still doing my best to give you guys all the members only content because I really appreciate the support we've been getting on the channel and the support we're doing everything else. So we are closing in on 4,000 subscribers, and I think we're pushing for that 5,000 mark end of the year, if not by my 31st birthday. But anyways, yeah, we went to that swap me yesterday. I kind of went incognito mode, have you say. I didn't wear anything Well-Don tanks. I didn't bring my camera with me. Went there, wanted to kind of fill out the scene, see who is there, see who I can meet. And I went there specifically wanting to pick up a certain pleco. There's a vendor that shared their stock list on Facebook, and I knew that they had it. So I got there probably 30 minutes before the swap even started. They showed up a little later, and I bombarded the owner as soon as I saw him walk in. Like they hadn't even started setting up their table yet. And I asked him, said, do you have these plecos with you? Like, do you have them? He goes, yeah, they're out in the bucket. I'll have to go bag them up for you if you want to come help me. Perfect. So I asked him, like, how many do you have? We bargained the price a little bit, and he's like, well, I've got 8 of them. So, perfect. I will take all 8. So we brought home 8 new plecos I get to play with. Really looking forward to this. And I've in the past I've talked about how I was going to keep a lot of rare L numbers in this fish room build, leopard frogs, different things like that. And where my mind, my kind of, don't get me wrong, I still want to play with things like leopard frogs and queen arabesque and the Allen-Occur, the L397 is definitely getting more attention now. Still want to play with those, and they would be like eventually I'm going to. I'm sorry if you can hear my door banging right now. My got a kid and dog trying to get in. But anyway, so my mind, my focus is kind of shifted towards there's some beautiful ancestry species, the bristlenose species that we don't really play with. Like they're out there for sure. Don't get me wrong, but like there was things that I've kind of want to work with now. Maybe I'm going to say easier to breed lightly because they're still going to take some effort, but I also think you're not waiting years for them to potentially breed. So I picked up some new ancestry species yesterday, and I'm looking forward to that. I am, and that's kind of the topic I put on the stream too, as we was talking to the members last night, is I am so excited to get this fish room going. Like so excited for this one, probably more than I was my last one. And I would definitely say too that it's things we've culminated, kind of learned from each past one. But it looks like Misfit's joining in on the squad. What's up, man? Glad you're coming in. Hopefully you'll hang out with us. So long story short, wrap back into the swap I went to is I bought the plecos I wanted for the first 20 minutes of the swap. And it was a little smaller than I expected. So by the first 30 minutes, I had seen everything I wanted to see, saw all the vendors, some beautiful fish, like some incredible fish there. Don't get me wrong. There's a facility here that breeds some of the nicest angelfish I have ever seen. Like just great angelfish. And speaking of angelfish, you can you may see, point camera this way, whoop, right there. We got some angelfish right now. Went into the local fish store, and these two had bred on a plant tag. So I got the pair, and I also got the plant tag. It's kind of fun. So anyways, so I'm chilling, kind of like I'm going to hang out till the end because there's a raffle. I want to see what they're going to raffle off, see if I win anything. So I was like, I don't know what to do. Like normally I'm a pretty outgoing guy, but it was a new scene for me. So I just kind of was chilling. All of a sudden, somebody walks up to me. Very nice, very nice. I'm going to say girl. It's like, I don't know how to like differentiate girl and lady. I don't know. And she comes up, she taps me on the shoulder. She's like, excuse me. Somebody said that you are on YouTube. And I'm like, yes, I am. She goes, why the heck aren't you mingling more? I'm like, well, this is a new scene for me. She goes, no. You're welcome here. We're so happy to have you here. Like, what's your YouTube channel? Do you do anything on any other social media platforms? So I got to thinking, like, holy crap, like somebody recognized me, but probably thought that I was the biggest prick and didn't want to come over and say hi to me because I was just sitting at a table, kind of chilling on my phone, waiting for this raffle. So once I got introduced to her name was Nat. We got to talk, and she introduced me to a gentleman by the name of John, and it just kind of built up from there. So where Nat is on the board of the Greater Austin Aquarium Society, so great connection to have there. She has a website up and running that she's invited me in to sell on. John was he's like 6'3", just a big guy, but that personality and attitude that's contagious. So it blossomed from there of, well, first off, they gave me some crap, and I jokingly say bullied me into getting onto TikTok. They opened my eyes to just how big the TikTok scene is down here in Texas, and the fish TikTok. Oh my gosh. So yes, I gave into the dark side. While I was there, I set up a TikTok account. Be honestly, if you find me on TikTok, do not expect anything serious out of me. I'm going to use TikTok as a 100% joke around platform and really still focus in on the YouTube scene stuff because I'm loving what I'm doing. Yeah, made some great connections there. And then I met the president of the club, got talking with him, and to see just how they work the club, I am so excited. They were all kind of shocked that I drove 2 hours up there, but it was just like, well, there's nothing active around here in Houston I found yet. I want to go check out you guys. So we had a great time there. Kevin, I see your comments, man. I will 100% get there, but you got to just understand, man. I'm just having a good time. I will promise you, I will get back to chat because I know Chubbs Aquatics is coming here too. So we got talking. Things were great there. Well, come to find out, John has 3 Maboo puffers. Nat has a 500-gallon pond she's built out in her backyard, and things just came from it. So things came from it of what we got going on there. And so new content coming, new friends made, new connections made, and it expanded that there is so much fish available down here. It blew my mind at what's available down here, and that I think opened the next avenue for us to be on social media and the presence we can bring, the community we can build, and the things we get to do here. I get to now still pursue what I want to do on YouTube, what I want to do with the community. And it was a lot of fun. I had a great time there. So I'm very glad I went up there. And leading into them, I go into Aquashella Dallas. I am going to Aquashella Dallas. So I will be at Aquashella. Tickets are bought, hotels reserved, and most of the people I met at the swap are all going to Aquashella. And it's so much fun to be. I'm close. I'm close enough to I can go up to Dallas. I can go enjoy Aquashella. So I got the VIP tickets. I'm going to do everything I possibly can there. So if you see me at Aquashella, if you're going to go to attend Aquashella and you see me, please do not be afraid to come up to me and say hi to me, introduce yourself to me. I'm definitely, my goal is to not have that like look on of like, don't talk to him. No. I want to meet as many people as I can. So it was fun getting out of my shell a little bit up there in the swap. So really, really looking forward to going to Aquashella. And as much flack as I've kind of have tossed towards Joey, I'm happy to see him coming back to his home gallery kind of thing. You can see the passion back in his eyes, and I hope I get to meet him. I know this is his last talk he's given, and I'm also looking forward to see what other YouTubers are there and other personalities are there. But also this is my first time attending, so I'm really excited to see what's gonna be there and what we're gonna do there. So I do plan on doing a little bit of vlogging. I want to film some things there, but I also really want to go and just enjoy. So I'm gonna have a good time there. Good time there. Haven't watched any YouTube in a long time. I watch YouTube every day. So I moved down to into Katy, Texas. We left Utah and we're now down in Katy, Texas, which is about 4 hours up to Dallas. So it's gonna be a good time. It was always kind of just out of the cards going to Aquashella just because it involved flights, and that was more time off work, and then flights got expensive. So now being 4 hours away, even though the tickets in the hotel, it's still a couple $100 for me and my wife to go up there. It's more doable, right? It was more in the cards and the budget to make that happen. So hopefully we can go up there and have a good time. I'm really looking forward to there. But it sounds like Kevin got a new mud skipper a few weeks ago. Mud skippers are fun. Like they look fun. I'm not personally interested in keeping them, but they look fun. Like they're hilarious fish running around. Don't get me wrong. And I think Tazawa Tanks has done a great job at showcasing how much fun mud skippers can be. For knowing what I've seen, I would say he's probably like the top personality that has really put out solid content on mud skippers and showing those off. So they're fun, man. They definitely are fun. So I keep plants, but I'm not really like into the propagating time of thing. But that's probably kind of going to be the conversation, what we're going to go into now a little bit too there. But all right. Have I caught up with people? I think so. People aren't hating me right now. And don't worry, I'm kind of purposely not talking about all the fish I have right now because I want to grow them out a little bit. I also want to use that to my advantage on content. I want to make videos about them. I want to show them off. I want to talk about. So this is this is what I seek to do with the content I want to create here and building this fish room is I want to build each individual tank out for each species, but then talk about each species. So right now to make content on the fish I have is like I could do it, but it would be like difficult because they're all just random holding tanks of like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 tanks on the floor in my studio right now, all holding the fish I have. And talking with Mountaintop, we've and Misfit too. Misfit was a great help on searching out some fish for me. Just unfortunately they weren't available. So then me and Mountaintop got to talking, and I talked to Misfit, and there's some new fish that are going to come and be held in the 65 gallon. But we also picked up a fish from a local fish store that I think is the next. My plan is to make it the next like showpiece fish that goes in this tank. And if it is what I think it is, it's gonna blow people's minds. So it's not like everybody knows the fish, but if it keeps the color it has right now, it's gonna be insane. So I want to grow it out for a little bit before I fully show it off because I want to make sure it is what I think it is. So I know a lot of mystery right now, going off on a lot of mystery right now. I know HD coming in. What's up, man? I'm sure you're happy to hear we got some angels. I know you just unboxed some new angelfish going on there. So I'm excited to see what you do there. But all right. I don't know how long we've been talking, but so I had a good conversation in one of our member streams last night. Welcome to TikTok. I just got an email that says, welcome to TikTok. Your TikTok experience starts today. God, I went to the dark side. Now I'm getting emails saying, welcome to TikTok. I cannot believe I joined TikTok, but it's been fun. I definitely am going to make some, just mess around with it. Anyways, so the title, as you can see here on this stream here is, do we make fish keeping complicated? I think we do. I honestly think that it's our own fault that we make things complicated. Now I know the Tiffany's getting ready to move, and she had a lot of questions about doing some videos. And don't worry, I still got you on transferring fish from pH and this and hardness to soft and different varieties of things that come in the hobby. And my conversation last night with the members, Leo was a good sport last night. I kind of, I'm not gonna say picked on him, but I talked very openly to him. He had a lot of questions about a pleco he wanted to buy, and it went down the rabbit hole of, well, what temperature? Like, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And I finally came out and said, like, those are all decisions you have to make. But then I also said, and don't worry, I messaged him afterwards to make sure I wasn't being too hard on him. But as someone on YouTube, I'm a content creator, right? And it's still like it's still a weird taste in my mouth to say I'm a content creator. I'm a YouTube personality. Like, I'm just a guy with a camera that enjoys fish. That's what it comes down to. I do respect, and I also even appreciate that people come to me to seek advice, to learn something from me, to learn from my experiences. And that's what I want to do on this channel. So last night, we really got into a deep discussion. Well, I'm going to say deep discussion. There may have been some adult beverages involved that opened up a new layer of my mindset. But once I went and saw what Mountaintop Puffer Keeper is doing in his fish tanks, you guys can go watch the tour. Free plug there. I'm going back in the spring. God, I'm going back in the spring. He's already promised me some ice cream cones and different things, and I'm so excited to go back. But anyways, went and did that tour, and what stuck with me the most was I just make fish happy. Just make the fish happy, and they'll figure out the rest on their own. So I looked at my current fish room then, what I was doing, what he was doing, what I've seen people do, what I've seen. Like, we all know Master Breeder Dean. We see the immense amount of fish that dude breeds, grows out, and how much I've learned from him, learned watching that. What I love about it, though, is you watch Dean and Corey in the same room, and their style of fish keeping is very similar, but it's also drastically different. I mean, how long did it take Corey to get Dean to keep plants, kind of a thing, right? But so Mountaintop is one of my favorite people to talk with, and fortunately, he's not sick of me. We'd probably talk every day. It's basically a lot of over text message, but we talk like every day. We've been having a good time discussing back and forth live food cultures right now. Is he just sent us out a big package of live food cultures, and one of those was Daphnia. So he's up in high mountain range, Colorado. I'm down here in the Houston area. So he shipped me out Daphnia in this box of live food cultures. Let's see if I can find the actual temperature. So we were talking, though, of he shipped these Daphnia. He sent me a picture the other night of testing the temperature of his Daphnia pond. And it was, what was it? There it is. 42 degrees. 42 degrees was his Daphnia pond temperature. So we're talking the Daphnia went from a pond, let's say roughly, we'll average about 50 degrees, boxed them up, shipped them out to me. When they landed to me, I think the box itself was like 80 degrees. This is one thing I love about Matt is anytime we ship stuff back and forth, we test temperatures of things because we want to, he loves knowing the scientific information. I mean, guys, if only I could like show you all the texts we send back and forth. Like this dude is blowing my mind with things, but it's so much fun because it gets me thinking. And that's what I want to do is I want to get people thinking there. So he boxed these Daphnia up, went from 50 degrees to 80 degrees, and they were great. Now, I may have crashed the culture, but I put them in a bucket here in my studio until I could get a pond set up outside, and they did okay. They were living, right? So they went from 50 degrees. This room stays about 78 degrees, and they were doing great. Put them outside, and he sent me a picture again of that roughly 40, 42 degrees. And then I sent him a picture. I was like, okay, I'm curious now. I'm curious now about going out and testing, my temperature. What's my outside temperature? And where's that picture? It was, I think like 11 o'clock at night when I went and did it. Mine was at 75 degrees. So we saw this massive fluctuation of Daphnia doing well in 40 degrees to 75 degrees and just doing well, just doing their thing. So then my mind really started going down this rabbit hole of my last fish room. I was so focused on making this sterile breeding thing, give the bare bottom tank, right? Because we need bare bottom to breed fish. And then I remembered, and if you look back in the channel, I had a group of albino crebensis. Now, I had them in a 10-gallon tank. I had 4 coconut huts in there and a ball of moss. And you could see the females just plump up, get the super purple, like, oh, they're going to breed. Like, they're going to breed. But then I never got them to breed, got frustrated with them, and I think I sold them to a place that shall not be named. Fast forward to now, we have, I'm never going to get this pointing on camera thing down. In this corner right here of this 40-gallon breeder, we have, you can see it right there. We have 2 Tricana jewels that paired off, laid eggs in this corner, and we're doing their best to fight off every single fish in this tank. And that just like an epiphany happened. My albino crebensis never bred because I did not give them the right conditions to breed in. They didn't have substrate. There was no substrate for them to go dig around in and lay their eggs in and then raise their fry off that. So I just started thinking like, what was I doing back then? I was making it complicated. Why was I making it complicated? Because I've seen so many master breeders do it their way, and I wanted to replicate that. Now, you've often heard me say in my videos is you can adapt what I'm doing to meet your needs. And I've got an air pump running right now in this studio. I am so excited to make a video on. I purposely wanted to run it for a few weeks to make sure it did what I wanted it to do, where we've done fish rooms now with large air pumps, large air systems, but I've never really found a way to teach someone of, you have a rack of 5-6 tanks, but you don't run single USB air pumps to each one. I got you covered now. And there's always ways to adapt it to what you need it to be. And that's what it came down to, being of, sure, breeding bristlenose plecos in a bare bottom tank, done it. Will they do it? 100%. I dropped in a cave into this 40 breeder right now too, though, because I picked up a male albino bristlenose to go with the female I have that I got from Trevor when he moved. And I'm still holding all of his fish in this tank, by the way. So just kind of to give you an idea of the sheer numbers of fish in this tank. A lot of the bristlenose that I have in the tank right now were hanging out on the driftwood I have in there. As soon as I dropped the cave in, I mean, we're talking it hit the sand. Not 30 seconds later, I watched all of the male bristlenose that I can tell were male come off of the driftwood and rush this cave. Just rushed it. And that cave has now spun around in that tank probably 3 times. There's a big, a crater in the sand where they've been wrestling for control of this cave. And to watch that happen was just absolutely fascinating. So Mountaintop has done a phenomenal job of breeding many fish, one of which he just sent me another picture today on, and we started debating and, discussing why this particular fish chose a smaller area to breed in. And it just made me think of we overcomplicate our fish tanks so much. Now, this also can go down into you get on YouTube, you get on the internet, and everybody says you cannot transfer this fish from this water parameter to this water parameter without instant death, right? One of the biggest things I see is you want to start a fun war. Tell people how you acclimate your fish. Do you drip acclimate? Do you just drop and plop? And you've seen numerous people that own different stores and businesses and fish rooms do it all differently. And you order some fish in and you're going to get acclimation instructions that say you must drip acclimate. Or, we say don't drip acclimate. But it looks like HG's taking off. Good luck, man. Hope things are going well for you. Well, I'll catch up with you. And I am a person I hate drip acclimation. I hate it. And, hate's a strong word. I recommend you don't drip acclimate. And I never had an experience to show that until I got to keep those Ultimate Angelfish for a brief period of time. Then we started a drip acclimation because the guy we got them from said these fish are coming from like 6.4 pH and they were going into my 8.0 pH. And he told us, he's like, they're gonna crash if you don't drip acclimate them. Set them up on drip acclimate, and my wife is calling me frantically saying they're dying. Like, we are losing fish as we speak. What should I do? And I told her, I said, just pull them out of the bucket and put them in the tank. Just get them in the tank. They did great. They perked up. They started moving around. You look at discus. How many times do you hear discus being sold as tap water discus, hard water discus? I mean, are they really? Why? Why are they tap water discus? Well, we converted them to tap water. Okay. Or did you just keep clean water? Like, I get asked all the time, what's your tap water like in Texas now? What's your tap water like? How are the fish handling it? What if I told you that I bought these angelfish from the local fish store? Their pH is 8.0 in their freshwater tanks. And my pH right now is like 6.8. They're doing great. I've had 0 issues with them. And it was mind-blowing when we had the water heater replaced in the house and we also put on some whole house filtration, was that it dropped the pH of my tap water from 7.8, 8.0 down to like 6.4, 6.8. But these fish are doing great. But why is that? Okay, now, saying this, if we get into some extreme specifics, sure. There are some fish that definitely do better in lower pH settings. Now, something that I have kind of come to the conclusion of, I had a lot of spawns of angelfish in Utah. I mean, I got the eggs to spawn, right? We had the eggs and all this, but we never got a viable hatch out of them, even though people swore to me they didn't lower or do anything with their water. So then I got thinking, Dean breeds angelfish like a madman. And why is that? I think it's because his pH, and he's told you he has softer water. Now, does that softer water allow the eggs to hatch better? So now we're going all sorts of down rabbit holes, and I want to kind of come back to what I'm saying here, though, is there was a fun poll, I think, that KG Tropicals did on their community tab. It was like, what's the most difficult freshwater fish to keep? Discus had the highest votes by a landslide. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? They did not list autosynclus on this poll. Why is that? You know, and everybody is so afraid to keep discus because you got to have, you know, low pH, you got to have soft water, you got to have this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Is it like, do you, or do you just need to have correct temperature and clean water? Now, I will say temperature can play a big difference in how fish react in your aquariums, right? Like discus like it hot. We have enough evidence, in my opinion, that is accurate. Betta fish like it warm. That's accurate. But like, I've watched tanks fluctuate from 72 and 80 degrees, and guess what? The fish are doing great. When I overwintered my pond in Utah, and the goldfish were just loving life, and they came out little chunksters in the spring, that blew my mind. Of so many people freak out of, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then what really started this rabbit hole of mine of, are discus really the hardest fish to keep? Was with the Daphnia. Even Mountaintop said here, those Daphnia made me reconsider the sensitivity of most aquarium inhabitants. When I opened the box, it was 80 degrees, and I could see all the little Daphnia just cruising around, happy as could be. That what's got me thinking here is clean water goes much farther than what pH you have, what hard water you have, what, you know, soft water you have. Now, there's also evidence of, take a look at guppies. They need the mineral content in the water to truly thrive. So you've even seen Dean say, I buffer it with, you know, crushed coral and different things. But what I think happens, though, and that's what I mean by we overcomplicate it, is I've done this too. I took my L199 zebra plecos that I had previously, put them in a bare bottom tank, and I put them in 84 degrees with plenty of caves. Okay. We had 2 spawns. Cool. That was awesome. It was one of my best things I've ever spawned. But then I started watching Pleco Ceramics, and I started getting different ideas of, did I really give the Plecos what they want? Were they actually happy? Then I started looking at every other Pleco tank that people spawn Plecos like crazy out of. They have Pleco caves, slate rock, Pleco caves, slate rock. There was no layers. There was nowhere for these fish to go. So then I looked at the Moleweek Urbensis that I spawned. Had them up in a 10-gallon tank, had the coconut hut in the corner, had the ball of moss, all these different things that I thought was going to be the perfect setup. And it was, remember, but we had those spawns that I kept seeing, the eggs kept getting eaten. Moved them down to a 20-gallon long, put in extra hides, put in extra plants, had the good substrate in there. And we had a phenomenal spawn out of that. And going back to what Mountaintop says, the fish were happy. They had different areas they could pick to spawn in. They had different areas to move the fry around. There's more areas for the fry to move around. The female was able to defend against the male way better because of the more space they had. So it is, and this is one thing, and I know I'm probably going to, I'm still trying to figure out how to make a proper video on this, is water parameters. Taking fish from 6.4 pH to 8.0 pH, guess what? Plop and drop. But you madman, how are you going to do that? Fish are not as fragile as we give them what we think they are. I think I read a comment here. In the wild, within 200 yards, the pH goes from 4.0 to 9.5, and the fish don't mind. But for some reason, we think they mind. We get so concerned about that. And one of the dumbest things that I think was ever created, have you guys seen the pH up and the pH down? That is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Now, there is a product by Fritz, and I just saw a online retailer advertise it as the perfect bundle for bettas. I want to get it, and I want to experiment with it to see, is it really the perfect? And I'm really excited that I have lower pH in this fish room now, well, this studio, the fish room I'm going to build, because now I get to do some experimenting of angelfish spawns? Can I hatch them? What's the difference? What do we need to do? Can this help me understand and how to better educate of how I keep my fish? So we kind of bring this all back into, there's 2 points I want to make here. Moving. I moved from Utah to Texas. Hey, how's your tap water down in Texas? Guess what? It's tap water. But are you free of ammonia? Are you free of nitrite? And are your nitrates under control? Yes. Guess what? Move your fish. They're going to be great. There no problems at all, right? I foresee nothing of that happening. I mean, we proved it. There we go. We proved that fish must be happy in this 40 breeder because right there in that corner, there's 2 Turkana jewels defending their little spawn for their life. Why are they happy in there? I think it's because they have substrate to dig in. There's some plants in there, and they have ample food. The conditions were right. I don't really care what my pH is in this tank, but I test for my nitrates and ammonia every week because I want to know. I'm curious right now about some things. But then watching Matt's Harry Puffers, the setup, are they happy? Are they happy with what they're doing? So that's where I think we overcomplicate our aquariums is we focus way too much on is the pH at 6.4? Is it stable? Oh, it's not stable. Okay, dump this in. Oh, crap. It's now 6.8. Wait, dump more of this in. Oh, crap. Now what's happening? Like, dump more of this in, instead of, I'm going to test my water. Hey, look at that. I have 0 ammonia. I have 0 nitrite. Oh, look at that. I have 20 parts per million nitrate. Cool, right? Now going back to when that poll was discus or the hardest freshwater aquarium fish to keep, I disagree. In my opinion, one of the things that I think most people fail at more than discus is autosynclus. Now, why is that? It's nothing to do with pH of your aquarium. It's nothing to do with the hardness or softness of your aquarium. I've successfully kept autosynclus in hard water and now soft-ish water. And the members know I just brought in some quote-unquote rarer autosynclus, some autosynclus that I had never seen until I saw what Dean brought back from Peru, and it really got me thinking. People don't properly feed their autosynclus. At the swap yesterday, a gentleman there was selling autosynclus, and I heard him say, look how fat my autosynclus are. Look how much poop is in the bag. And I walked over to him and I said, I actually really appreciate that that's how you're marketing your autosynclus. They were fat. There was poop in the bag. He was feeding them correctly. In my little holding tank down here, the autosynclus are in, I purposely put driftwood in that tank that I knew was going to fungus up a few days before I got the fish. That gave them so much microfauna to go nuts on. So then from there, I feed things like algae wafers. I feed things that are going to give them the nutritional value they need. Then once I get them into their own aquarium, it's going to be loaded up with plants. It's going to be loaded up with driftwood to give all that microfauna the fish need. So now the other channel I've started watching a lot of, and I wish I started watching earlier, is Keeping Fish Simple. Do you ever have those personalities? Probably me. I'm curious, how many of you first watched a video of me? You're like, yeah, that guy's annoying as hell. He makes funny noises. But now you come back, you're like, okay, I kind of like what he's doing. That was Keeping Fish Simple. For a while there, I just couldn't stand him. Don't know why. I can't really tell you. Then I give him a chance. Then I started watching a lot of his videos, and I've gained a huge respect for him. And he has tanks in there. They're just, he showed a clip. I think it was when he's talking about breeding rams. He showed a clip of algae in the tank, a ton of plants in the tank, bunch of rocks in the tank, and a couple like terracotta pots in the tank. And there's a big old spawn with the rams taking care of the eggs on a rock. And I looked at that tank and I said to myself, I'm like, how many people would look at that tank and go, that tank is an absolute disaster? But I looked at that tank and went, no wonder he is just creating rams by the hundreds. They're happy. They're loving life. When Mountaintop had the spawn of Bolivian rams when I went out there, why did they spawn there? They were happy, right? Like, he kept it simple. So that's what I want to do on this next fish room. There's a certain fish I have right now that I'm so excited to work with. All right, I'll spill the beans. I brought in a species of pencilfish. and I've wanted to work with this for a while. And my thought process for the aquarium I want to build for them, it's going to be a regular 20-gallon tank. I'm going to put some probably sand substrate down the bottom, maybe mixed in with some little bit of a gravel type thing. I want to get a piece of driftwood in there just because I like driftwood in my tanks. Then I'm going to put in like 6 to 10 dwarf lily bulbs. And we're just going to make a forest of dwarf lilies. So we're going to grow those out. We're going to watch those grow to the top of the aquarium, provide this, massive layer of dwarf lily pads up on the top of the aquarium. So it keeps some light coming into the tank, but kind of blocks out some light. Then I'm going to put a carpet of like cryptocorn down to the bottom. Probably Cryptocorn Deadeye. I love Cryptocorn Deadeye. So what I'm envisioning right now is ton of dwarf lilies, a carpet of crypts with some driftwood in there. My thought process is it's going to give so much cover for these semi-skittish fish that hopefully they're going to be so happy they're going to breed up a storm. And then instead of focusing on how do I pull the eggs? No. Let the environment, let the habitat do the raising for you. With all those plants in there, think of how much microfauna is going to be in there. It's going to be amazing. So there's so many things I'm so excited to work with and so excited to do because I'm 100%. My last fish room, I overcomplicated things so bad. It was horrible. And then towards the end of it, you could tell I started like adding substrate to things. I started trying to really work with how the fish, what they needed and give them that. So in this fish room, I'm going to eliminate auto water change. Now, not saying that's an overcomplicated thing because if I ever get to build the facility, I'm going to say the facility that I really want, I 100% get an auto water change. It's an amazing feature. The main reason I'm going to eliminate auto water change is I want to. Okay, this kind of breaks down into the main reason kind of breaks down into subcategories. I want to show people how easy it can still be to maintain aquariums without an auto water change. I've heard people tell me all the time, oh, if I only had an auto water change, I could breed more fish. Oh, if I only had an auto water change, I could, do better at fish keeping. I'm not going to lie. Auto water change made me lazy, made me so lazy that I know I miss things in my tanks. Now, for those of you who have auto water change, don't get me wrong, they're amazing things. Mountaintop has some auto water change system going on, but his stuff is freaking awesome. And his husbandry is amazing. What's up, Daniel? It's good to see you here. Daniel, I had a great conversation with Misfit today about your knife fish. I got something working. I'll shoot you a text later. Okay. So back to this auto water change thing. The second reason is, so teaching people how simple it can still be, but then, and Corey's talked about this, that I'm not going to say I didn't understand it. I never saw the principle behind it. Is that the right way to say this? Corey has talked a lot about do we need to change water? Why do we change water? And that got me thinking of, if I build these tanks out the way I want them, sure, I'll change water for various reasons, right? Like, for example, right now, I have some opani wood in one tank with some specific type of catfish that loves wood. It's tea. The whole tank is so dark I can't see into it, which there's nothing wrong with that because that's such a natural thing. But anyways, I'm changing water out of it primarily because I actually want to be able to see the fish right now. I'm looking forward to working with plants and different things and creating a stable environment for these fish to enjoy, because then I get to enjoy it. And then I get to show something. Then, I get to share that with the community. And it's just going to be, there's so many things I'm so excited to play with and do now. And and build these things out. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be some bare bottom tanks in this fish room probably grow out, because trying to catch somebody, it was a while ago, and I failed to make a video on it. The question was, can you make a video on how to catch fish out of a planted tank without like tearing up your entire scape? Which got me thinking of like, I really don't want to go chasing things like Cory fry in a 20-gallon tank with 10 crypts in it. Like, that's going to be a disaster. But I have ideas, like even the plecos I have ideas of what I want to do with them. And so it's been very exciting. So hopefully that made sense. I've ignored the chat for a very long time now, and I apologize. But I hopefully that came down to like an understandable topic there of, don't be so concerned with what is my pH. Don't be so concerned of, I'm moving my fish from this house to this house. I test my tap water out of like total curiosity, but then give fish credit of what they can actually do. Now, I've learned a lot of getting fish and letting them settle. Just letting them settle. It's amazing what that does for you. When I bought these angels, I got them in, landed them, and I gave them like a full day just to settle before I started doing any kind of medication for my quarantine process. And that was just me, and it worked. It's done great things for me. But on the simplicity level, keep clean water. Your fish will be happy. Your fish will do great. If you want to have pink gravel in your tank with a bubble or diver, do it. Because as long as you have clean water, your fish are going to be happy. And that's what's been so exciting for me to like finally kind of grasp that concept. Keep fish happy, fish do well. It's that simple. But we overcomplicate it of, no, your bettas, they have to have this. Are you sure? Like, are you sure? What I see now is there are people out there that have such a fine-tuned process of how to breed rams, how to breed this, that, sure, learn from that. Try it. See what works for you. I tried Dean's method of breeding rams. Didn't work for me, right? I set up a tank exactly how he did his video with Aquarium Co-op. I never got a spawn. Were the fish happy? I don't know. Was I doing something wrong? I don't know. But you know what I cranked out? Molar recurbensis. You know, like rams are something I eventually want to play with again. And like angelfish, the reason I bought the angelfish, I want to play the angelfish again. I want to successfully get a spawn because I'm stubborn like that. Now, with Dean doing that video of how to keep rams, is he making it complicated? No. That's probably like the most simple aquarium setup I've ever seen. But you notice though, he still, if you break it down, he really talked about, are the fish happy? For what all as I know, there's too much foot traffic in front of my tank. There's too much light in the tank. You know, all these different things. But so yeah, hopefully that makes some sense there. Because I know that it was a long ramble. I have a really hard time scripting stuff out because I just like to talk and see what goes. But all right, let's get back to the chat here, see what's going on with everybody. I do like hearing from you guys. Okay. Let's see. From doing everything in my power and spending all the money I could to keep certain species alive, then trying going super simple, and all of a sudden stuff starts staying alive. 100%. That's absolutely, it's so accurate. Now, one of the things medication, right? That can keep fish alive. But like, I've gone the crazy route of, this is one of the things that still drives me nuts to this day is people telling you that you have to have RO water to have successful fish. No, you don't. Like, no, you don't. Not at all. RO units can be so bad in the wrong hands, but they have a sole purpose for so many of the great things. But it's 100% though, Misfit. It's just super simple and stuff starts staying alive. Like it's mind-blowing at how overcomplicated we make it. And I have a video I'm going to film, which I think is the biggest scam in the hobby. And as soon as you kind of learn about it, like you're right. Anyways, okay. Chubb, sounds like you got hit pretty hard with that hurricane, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're bouncing back there. I know I've got some family that went through that hurricane too, but all right. DJ, when am I going to make the air pump video? As soon as I get the time to make it. It's on my list. I've got a list of a bunch of things. So right now I'm back trying to keep my schedule of one video a week and one live stream a week. And to give you some context on that, I've now put in about 10 hours editing the video for this coming Friday, and I'm still not done. And that's just editing. That's not the 2 hours it took me to film it. So I'm really working on the quality, and I want to make this air pump video in a proper manner. So it's on my list. I don't have an exact time for you, but I will make it hopefully within the next month or two, because it's the way I want to portray it is I found an option for people that like, I think we run into this. Hi, I'm Trent. I have a fish tank. Oh, do you? Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. To, hi, I'm Trent. I have a rack of fish tanks and I love it. To, hi, I'm Trent. I'm addicted to fish, more like obsessed. And I build things in my garage to house 30 tanks, and I shove tanks wherever I can make them. And, I run the biggest air pump I can. So it's like, you either have like a tank to, I have a lot of tanks, but then there's these people in the middle of, well, I have a rack of tanks and I'm tired of running, 5 air pumps, but I don't want to spend $200 on an air pump that produces so much air that it's not feasible for me. I found a pump that meets this middle that's a lot quieter than the previous ones I've looked at. So if you go way back in the channel when I was in my laundry room in Utah, keeping fish, and we hooked up a certain air pump to run 15 tanks, I found one that's way better, like such a better alternative. Okay. So it's coming. It's coming. It's definitely coming. Why does this case generally, why is it discus? Generally cannot be kept in hard water because they have extremely hard time adapting to water parameter. Hard water discus just means they've been bred and adapted to hard water. I will debate that tooth and nail now, Kevin. Like, I will 100% debate that. Now, the reason I debate this is, why can't they be kept in hard water? Why can't they be adapted over? Who says they can't? The internet? 100%. But why? Sure. Is there some extreme scientific data that says we've raised these discus in tap water, hard water, so they're going to do better? Maybe. But why can't they be acclimated over? Like what Chubb said, I guarantee you there's fish that come out of the wild that are in such a low pH, it would blow your mind. Then they land in water that's 8.0 pH and they do great. So you say here too that if you want the discus eggs to actually hatch, you need to have soft water, not hard water. I will agree to some of that. Now, and the reason I will agree to some of that is I would say some eggs hatch better in softer water than hard water. But now, like Chubb said, hard water can make the eggs harder. There's truth to that. I'll agree to that. I never got an opportunity to go see it. I never got an opportunity to go film it. There's a gentleman in Utah that is running a fish room that is on the level of a professional facility. Unfortunately, the gentleman had cancer while I was there. So he was very careful of who he let into his home. I can absolutely tell you with confidence that there was not a single RO unit in his facility. Not a single one. He was using straight tap water. And the discus were phenomenal. So, I'm just going to say it. But pH up and pH down are dangerous. The most important thing is consistency and stabilization. But how do you teach that? Like, how do you help somebody understand that? Because I have never used those, but I've had people come back to me and like, so I used some of this and I used some of this and then my fish died. Like, well, yeah, because you were taking them from like 7 pH, 4 pH, 10 pH, just consistency is such key. 100% there. 100% there. Chubbs, I may have missed you, but I do appreciate you hanging out, man. If I get a chance, I'll come over and say hi. Really do appreciate it there. But yeah, I keep it simple. It's such a good thing, man. Such a good thing. I don't run auto water change either. I love my Python. Best things on this green earth. Over 200 tanks. See, at that point, I'd probably be looking at some auto water change systems. I'm not going to lie. That's like good on you, though. Like pat on back, man, for keeping that thing going. So that's why I'm very, very excited to work with, just more of a simple water change thing. So I still got some ideas to make it easier, but I'm excited I'm excited to strip out that level of complication, because the complication came from, is my drain line big enough? Is like, oh, I flooded my basement because that drain on that tank got clogged up by a snail, right? So Kevin's asking, how do you say whether they're happy or not in tanks? How are the fish acting? Are they hiding? Are they out and about? Are they breeding? Are they healthy? That's a person. I don't know. How would you define that? I can tell you the way I'll define this, but this is also in my opinion. Now, I think that's a question that everybody has to answer. The way I can answer that right now, right? Jeez, right there. Boop. Come on. Oh, my hell. Okay. That corner right there. That's how I'll define fish are happy. Those turcanas are such a deep crimson red right now, and the blue coming out of their fins is insane. I'll argue they're happy. We're going over to Mountaintop. When you see hairy puffers go into a cave together, like doing something right. But now let's say you don't want to breed fish. Let's just say you want to keep fish. Were you able to keep your fish alive? Seems happy to me. Will there be a members only after this? Probably. I would say so, Daniel. Don't have an exact time, but I would say there'd be one. I don't know if it'll be as intense as last night, but I think there'll be one. I'm in a good mood. Auto water change, it helps keep your water clean, which is exactly what you're saying, what your needs. So I'm really confused. But Kevin, what else keeps your water clean? Because I don't think you're running an auto water change. So let's argue this now. Why does an auto water change keep it clean? Because it changes water? I can do that manually. So can plants. So can substrate. So can driftwood. So can bacteria. So what I'm more so getting at right now is creating an environment that allows stabilization, right? I'm really, and Primetime Aquatics did a great job, did a great video of this, talking about what makes a good tank, what makes it look good. He talked about how he liked black and blue gravel in his tank, but now he likes earth tones. And I'm one that I really like plants and driftwood in my tank. But what is to say if you had a tank in there with your giant castle, dragon, airstone, bubbler, and clown puke color gravel, that your tank just is not as healthy as mine, if not even healthier? We could both not be on auto water change. It's also terrifying with auto water change when you forget to turn it off and you run water through tanks for 24 hours. So look at it on this way, on the simple level. There are so many ways to keep your water clean. Now, what is clean? What is clean water? Do you have zero ammonia? Do you have zero nitrite? And are your nitrates in an appropriate level? That's clean water. That's clean water, 100% in my opinion. I bought, let's see, 3, is that blue rim bettas? About $100 a pop. Whew. Lost 2 of them trying to make sure the pH and everything was perfect. The one I left, Well, let's see. The one I have left, keeping water out of the tap, runs at 7.5 and steady. Consistency. We get so caught up in. I was this way too. Don't get me wrong. I was this way too in Utah. That when I kept those discs for a very brief period of time, and I made a video saying the internet says this won't work, it stirred some controversy. And I purposely did that video to stir up the internet. Let's be honest. But I fell into that groove too of is this tank proper for this, right? But now I've seen it since I've been down here of just keep it consistent. That's all it's got to be. Like fish don't care if your water is now. We gotta take out the extremes, right? Like 4.0, 5.0 pH. 9 pH and above. Those are some crazy extremes that are very limited things. I guarantee you that the mass of the general population has 6.5 to 8.2 pH. You can keep whatever fish you want in that. Keep it consistent. Keep it clean, right? It's all it comes down to. Mystery Snail Guardians. I don't know if I've seen you here before. I don't know if hopefully you're still hanging out. Thanks for joining. I've heard your name come up a lot lately. Sorry, I just bumped my table. Listening to Rico Stan. Love Rico. He speaks very highly of you, so I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. And then is that Didi's Findan? Welcome. I think we got a couple new faces tonight. That's awesome. Timothy Darling's coming in. What's up, man? All right, here we go here. Do I medicate pre-treat when quarantining, even when you don't see anything? I usually do, yes. And a lot of that comes down to on the internal parasite basis. I often can't see some internal stuff. So I call it a preventative measure rather than a reactionary measure. Most times, when do people medicate their fish? When they see something. One of the things I see circulate in the Facebook groups all the time is, my fish have fin rot. Are you sure? Like, this is another video I want to make, and because I suck at identifying exactly what's going on with my fish. Absolutely suck at identifying it. Like right now on these angelfish, I just have salt in with them. I'm kind of curious. I'm doing some little bit of experimenting, a little bit of testing. Is the store pointed out that what looked like ick on some of their fins. And they were like, terrified that I was going to take this fish home and have ick. And I looked at them like, I guarantee those are just cysts. No, they're ick. Okay, like right, like I look at it here. So I'm doing some marinating here with some salt and different things, and I don't think it's ick. I think it's a cysts. Nothing to be concerned about. We get so overreaction of my fish looks different. Okay, let's break that down. Looks different how? He pooped red instead of blue. Well, what did you feed him? Krill flakes. Oh, yeah, that's going to poop red. So, unfortunately, there are times we have to react to what we see. Ick. Different open wounds on fish, different bacterial infections, right? So we have to treat it that way. But I do the preventative of, if I can deworm a fish before it gets into, let's say, a community aquarium, great. So it's in moderation too. I've started to bring fish in. I observe them, and then I do some medicating. All the fish that I brought in a bunch of shipments all at once. I observed them for a couple of days, just kind of let them settle in. Then I did some medication. And did I learn that from the aquarium co-op? Yes, I did. Why did I start doing that based off his recommendation? Because that man has touched millions of fish at this point and has had an extreme successful high rate. Extreme high success rate. There we go. So I do a preventative treatment of that kind of thing there. Sometimes I feel like if you have to baby your fish and make it so complicated, it can make the fish way too sensitive and too complicated. Right. Keep it simple. Right. Like some of my favorite videos to watch is the ones they talk about. Why do we change water? If you go down and read the comments on those, people are so angry. Now, here's the best part about this hobby. How I keep my fish is not right. How you keep your fish is not right either. How I keep my fish is not wrong. How you keep your fish is not wrong either. The only time I'm going to say we may not find as much success experience back in Utah with a place that shall not be named. Person bought a fish, took it home. It was dead within 2 hours. They came back, brought a sample of their water as the recommendation, tested it. I've never seen a test strip not be able to read the amount of nitrate that were in this water. Like, I've never seen that. It was so dark. It blew my mind. So we started then talking to this individual, right? We started this, how much do you feed? When have you changed water? Like what's kind of going on with the situation? We found out they were feeding handfuls of food a day. Hadn't changed water in a very long time, and there was 0 plants in this tank. That created a recipe for disaster because there's nothing removing these nitrates. There's nothing consuming the nitrates. And they were so astronomically high, the fish just couldn't handle it. It couldn't take it. But I mean, if you want to talk about keeping it simple and also the resilience of fish, look at Charles Clapsaddle and what they're doing down there. I mean, the freeze came through in Texas and just destroyed what Goliad Farms has going on. But then you've heard him talk about the fish that survived the ammonia spikes, fish that survived the cold temperatures, and look at them now and look how they're doing. And then some of my favorite stuff is to listen to him talk why he doesn't strip the eggs from holding cichlids and what he's seen from this and done from that. I mean, talk about such a use of nature and simplicity. But look at the fish he is producing. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I am so happy that Charles decided to share his experiences. And I was devastated when I saw the loss he had, but what courage to showcase that and share that. And I love it when he gets uppity about people that say he needs to clean up around there, because like, he's doing such great things. He's such great things. It's so fun to watch. I want to embody that in this next fish room, of like, wow, you like those, like that tank looks disgusting. Yeah, but look how good those fish look, right? All right, I'm trying to making sure I catch up here. I've seen both ways, but personally, my discus were wild caught, and I keep them in tap. He's laughing there. The same tap that blue rim I have. They breed very regularly. Now, why? I mean, it would be such a fun thing to talk about there, and this is why Mountaintop is such a fun individual to talk to. And I'm honestly really glad I have you, Misfit, on here as well as that as a source, and we're talking more, and I get to learn more from you, because going to Mountaintop, what does he say? That the internet also says you can't keep hairy puffers in a group. It could be based off one individuals who didn't adapt to hard water. That's true. Like, there's so many things out there that it didn't adapt. Now, are there fish that don't adapt? Sure. But I mean, we can get really crazy here and go down like evolutionary process. And Charles kind of does. And it's so much fun to nerd out on. Internet says you can't keep hairy puffers together. Why can't you? Because it didn't work for somebody else. One of the things Corey has talked about, if you go way into his videos, is at one point in time, they tried to keep a group of Mabu puffers together. What they found, though, was it was very difficult to feed them properly, or they didn't fight each other. Okay, that's a legitimate concern, right? So, I mean, if we're talking that, you may need a massive system to keep them properly. Mountaintop is keeping successfully puffer species together. And if you look at the setups, it's because of this setup. Ample caves, ample hiding spaces, ample line of sight breaks, ample plant cover, ample food. It's quite impressive. And there is a puffer breeding project that I'm going to start, and I'm very curious to see how this goes. And talking with Matt, we've discussed the levels of, do you introduce each one fish at a time? Do you put all 6 in and see what gladiator war breaks out? And what we came down to is, because my thought process was quarantine each fish individually, feed them each individually, make sure each fish is eating consistently. Okay, now we have a higher success rate because each fish is eating. Put all 6 fish into the tank at the same time. That way they can't settle in and create territories and then another new one gets introduced. But on the back end, have a backup plan ready. Like, have other tanks you can move them to. Have dividers at the ready to step in if things get too squirrely or too gladiator-ish for my likes. But listening to him talk about watching the hierarchy of a puffer tank work through itself it's so much fun. It is so much fun. And he's doing it very successfully there. A friend feeds 1 pound of blackworms per week for 12 discus. Does water change 2 times a week? Cool. And it sounds like he's having great success. He's figured out what works for him. Right? I mean, I think he's doing something great. There was a guy in Utah that spent hundreds of dollars on blackworms and bred zebra plecos like they were freaking candy. I think it's awesome what he's doing. I think he's having a great time there. I think he's found something that works for him. You know, I feed a ton. Jeez, I'm going to point in the right direction one of these times. I feed a ton in this one. I put a ton of food in this 40 breeder because there is a ton of fish in there. I also found out that much food clogged up my canister filter the other day and completely cut off the flow. So now I've changed it up. I still feed a bunch of food, but I don't feed as much frozen food as I once did. So everybody's got to do what works best for them. I mean, I think if he's feeding a pound of blackworms for 12 discus and having great success, awesome. I mean, having fed blackworms now and seen the experience of blackworms, pound of blackworms per week for 12 discus, about accurate, about what I would do. Manual water change give you that much needed time to spend studying your tanks. That's the main reason I do manual. That right there, studying your tanks. This is what I'm looking forward to doing in this fish room. My old fish room, I didn't do it there at the beginning. Started to towards the end. And man, what did I learn? I learned so much. I think I did a live stream where I talked about what I learned, spending, each day in my fish room and watching the fish and seeing different interactions. And like, how do you think Mountaintop has gotten so good with his puffers? How do you think Misfit knows so much about his fish? He watches them, he studies them. And that's why I'm so excited to get these fish up out of these holding tanks, like get the Onesinclus into their own tank and watch their behavior, like see how they interact with their environment, hopefully get them to spawn. Then it's, where do they spawn? How do they spawn? Then start cracking that code. And that's why it was so much fun with the text that Mountaintop sent me today of one of his new fish that has spawned, is we started discussing, why did the fish choose to spawn there? Mountaintop would have never have noticed that had he not studied his tanks. Excuse me. Melissa Turner, I was just about to read your comment. I apologize. Hang on here. Love the information the Corps puts out. Don't understand why he partners with Aquahuna. Don't understand because Aquahuna keeps fishing we don't like. Aquahuna has different business practices. I mean, Corey sees something in them. Corey's talked about why he partners with them. I mean, it's people were surprised yesterday. So the plecos that I got yesterday, I know Kevin's been dying to hear it. I picked up a group of the Wobbin Muster bristlenose plecos. I figured out that they were imported from Pleco Ceramics into the United States to this company. And I got to talking with them, and I told them, like, this is super cool to have Wabenmuster plecos that were produced by Pleco Ceramics, because they have partnered with me on my YouTube channel. And we got to talking, and I could kind of see in this guy's eyes, he's like, why did they partner with you? You have under 4,000 subscribers. You're not breeding plecos out the yin gang. And Pleco Ceramics, if you do watch this, I thank you very much for the package you sent me. And I am definitely going to make a video on this. Just haven't gotten to it yet. I feel Pleco Ceramics saw something in me of, this guy is passionate about this. We're going to trust this guy to market our product because he has the passion for it. And like, the guy just, I think he kind of saw eventually how excited I was to have Wabenmuster plecos that were bred by Pleco Ceramics. It was awesome. It was fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to working with the Wabenmuster there. But that's the other fun part about this hobby too, though, is you can love what each creator does, but you can also then disagree what they also do. I have content creators that I disagree with. I have a very difficult time with how they present their information, where, yeah, I fanboy Aquarium Co-op all the time because I agree. I love the content he puts out. But it's also, it's super, super cool to see this urban fish farm he's built. But then I watch it and I go, yeah, it could be a very long time before I build something like that. Like, personally, I would go nuts having all those totes. Nuts. Genius idea. Don't get me wrong. I couldn't do it. I love having tanks and that kind of thing, things I can see into, not look down on. But I also understand, well, I see the perspective of why he likes having the live bears in those totes and different things like that. But it's kind of each person's taste, right? So like, if I ever get to build something like that, I don't know if I would do totes. I just don't know if I could do it. He loves it. And don't be wrong, if I ever get a chance to see it one day, like, it'd be a dream come true. But anyways, hopefully I have not upset anybody tonight, made too many people angry at me with my talk of why we overcomplicate our aquariums. But I had fun tonight. I hope all of you enjoyed the stream. Hope all of you maybe potentially learn something even. And I appreciate all of the input from everybody here. I really do enjoy this. I hope we got some new faces here. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you consider coming back. Hopefully you can get past the odd noises I make. It's just my Tourette's coming through to say hi. But I am so excited for what we have coming here on this fish room. And the video for Friday is another live food culture. And thank you to Mountaintop for providing us with that culture there. I'm very excited to do this. I'm very excited what goes on with this. But guys, I am very, very appreciative of all the support you've given me. We're doing things. We're definitely doing things here. So yes, I'm going to Aquashella this during a couple weeks. So if you see me there, feel free to say hi. Would love to meet as many of you as I can. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. So I say, new faces, if you enjoyed it, love you. Hope you come back. All those catching the replay, still appreciate you. You guys do so much for me. And then members, if you want to hang out tonight too, I think we're going to do a members only live stream. It's just we screw around in these live streams, so you're not missing anything crazy. But love you all. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate all for you do for me, and I hope that I can continue to give back on that appreciation. So good luck with everything. Hope things are well for you, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.